Hello everyone and welcome to my first draft guide video. Since the end of the season is approaching, I decided to do a small guide on 5 different drafts that you can spam to get to Legend or Emperor or the Masters or Champion, whatever your goal is for this season. First of all, guys, I really want to thank Gio from Cecilia Bot for this amazing draft simulator. So let's get on to it. First of all, let's go with Blood Moon Ace first pick type of drafts. We start off by pre-banning ML Poly plus ML Luna, right? This is like a classic pre-ban on RTA. The vast majority of the people are pre-banning these two units. So we're gonna use these as examples for this draft, right? Let's assume our opponent is also banning that. For the first pick, guys, these are Blood Moon Ace Anchor type of draft. So we're gonna first pick Blood Moon Ace. Blood Moon Ace in this draft ideally is on Idol's Shear, high HP Idol's Shear, instead of the Counter Celestine variant. You want him on high HP Idol's Shear. Let's say your opponents go with the most common answer to this is Laia into Death Dealer Ray. Like, these are the most common 1-2 picks that your opponents will do. This is when we go Conqueror Lilias, a dual attacker plus vigor buff, and we put ML Landy under ban protection, guys. This way we have our carry, right? We have ML Landy protected, so we already have our damage locked in. We have our anchor in the forms of Ace, and we have our opener, debuffer, and dual attacker in the forms of Conqueror Lilias. Okay, so your opponents will most likely answer. This is also a very common answer for these from your opponent. Your opponent might go units like, let's say he goes like Crimson Armin on 3, right, into Nahkwol. This is a very, very common draft in the High Legend. And then this is when you answer with 2 cleansers, right? Your last 2 picks, you just want them to make sure that your top 3 picks work, right? And thus usually is with cleansers. The main cleanser is going to be Kitty Clarissa. You want her super high FRES, so you kind of want to hit the 300 FRES benchmark, and for that you need to use Bastion of Hope on her. And then you will normally want another cleanser, so for example, Akadis. I like Infinite Horizon Akadis a lot because she's gonna cycle a lot, because he's gonna take a lot of turns. And you basically a cleanser here for your last pick. Okay, so let's say your opponent will go something like Broana last pick, right? That is when we go for banning her, right? We're gonna ban her, and your opponents will most likely ban probably Kitty Clarissa. If I was him, that's what I would ban, but let's assume it's Kitty Clarissa, the ban, and there we go. This is one of the drafts that you could be spamming for Legend. I think this draft, though, I think it's a great draft because it's easy to draft. It doesn't require a lot of units built. It doesn't require insane gear, right? You kind of want your Landy on highest damage, as much damage as possible, by the way. But yeah, this draft doesn't require a lot of units built, doesn't require a lot of gear, and it has the RNG element. It's a very high RNG draft, so you can basically beat anyone with this draft, especially people who are better geared than you, faster than you, etc. But because we have Landy and a bunch of dual attacks and cleanse, we can potentially rob any game. Although there's a problem though, I think this draft is kind of solved, and the higher we go in Legend, the better the player. I think this draft starts to not work as well, but there's always the RNG element. So I can show you guys how to beat this draft. This is the most effective way to beat this draft. It's really, really hard to lose to this draft if you do this draft, guys. We go Death Dealer Laia, but instead of going Carmine or etc., we go Nahkwol under ban protection, okay? And then we go Zio, because Zio is preventing the... Zio is better than Bunny here, guys, because Zio is preventing the vigor buff, right? If you go Bunny Dom, yeah, she gets the immunity and the skill null, but Conqueror can still provide the vigor buff to the team, and which is a problem, right? Because what happens if you go Bunny Dom is they'll just press S3 and then S1, and if they luck second, bring the candy and she salvos, you guys are dead, right? You're half dead. But this way, if you go Zio Nahkwol, you have the Zio to prevent the conk, and you have the book to guarantee that so that you can burn Nahkwol and then does stop cleanses, right? So let's say your opponent will go for the classic cleansers that we were talking about, right? He goes like Kitty Clarissa plus Infinite Horizon Arcades, right? That's when we finish off the draft with another book. We finished this draft with double books on our last 2 picks, so we can be sure we can soul burn our Nahkwol. So we go with, I like to go a lot, the Requiem Rowana. And then as the bans, right, we're gonna ban the Infinite Horizon Arcades, and your opponent will most likely ban the Rowana. Okay, you guys might be wondering, oh, Elf, but what if your opponent bans the Zio? It's fine, he gets the Vigor buff, and he's gonna provoke your Nahkwol, but doesn't matter because you have Laia Cleanse, right? So the upside for them is that they get the Vigor buff going, and get 1 S1 from Conqueror Lilias, but outside of that, they're dead after that, because you're gonna start with S2 on Laia to cleanse the Nahkwol, right? Then you soul burn Nahkwol, and then you S3 with Rowana, and they can never move again, and they're gonna die really fast because of the Rowana Death Break and then Death Dealer Ray Control. So yeah, guys, if you ever see your opponents go the first pick Blood Moon Heist into Conqueror Lilias, Navy Captain Landy, just go for the Nahkwol on 3, the Zio on 4, and finish your draft with another book, and it should be easy to deal with this draft. All right, let's move on to another draft, right? Let's reset this. All right, let's reset this. Now we're gonna go for another Blood Moon Heist first pick draft, which is the Amit Cleave. Okay, this draft is pretty good, but it has a flaw. It has a really high gear requirement, but outside of needing a fast Amit, other than that, it doesn't require a lot of units built. So we start off by pre-banning Zio plus Abyssal Euphine. And then let's say your opponents do the classic, right, that most people are doing on the ladder, which is pre-ban Politis plus Luna. So we open up our draft with the first pick Blood Moon Heist classic. He's going to be our anchor again. For this draft, you want Blood Moon Heist as well on high HP Idol's Cheer. It's much better than being on Counter Celestine. So for this draft, you want him on Idol's Cheer, high HP as well. Let's say your opponents go for a Laia draft, right? This is, again, the most common answers that your opponents can do. They can also go like Ambitious Tywin, right? But it's honestly kind of the same for the Amit Cleaver. So we put our Fire Poly to prevent, because Fire Poly, I mean, your opponent has 2 non-attacks anyways, but she prevents the Amit, right? And she deals with a lot of the non-attack issues that they're going to bring against you. So we go with Amit on 3, and then let's say your opponents go a tanky route. Let's say they go like Crimson Armin plus Navy Captain Landy. Although Navy Captain Landy is not very good because we have Ace anchoring, right? But let's say they go Navy Captain Landy. That's when you can go units like Gala. You just want 2 units that synergize very, very well with your Amit, right? So like Gala, Opsig, because 99.9% of the Carmines on the ladder are protection set. The Kize, right? Kize is an option. Another one you can go is the Green Ludwig, right? You just want super high DPSs. You can also go Giselle. Not against this though, guys, but like Giselle is also an option, right? Just basically, again, units that synergize with your Amit very, very, very well. But for the sake of this specific draft, let's say we went Opsig and we went with the Gala here. So yeah, this is an Amit draft. I'm not as familiar with this draft. I've played against it, but I don't play it that much. I barely played it because I don't have a 310 Amit or 305 Amit. Mine's like 290. But yeah, if you want to, this is a very straightforward draft to do. And it's the nice thing about this draft is it's super spammable. The games are fast. So if you like that, the cleavish setup, this is the draft for you. Other units that you can go for this draft that are important is the Blue Flan. Blue Flan is also good because if most of the time they don't have immunity, and you can like Soul Burn, Death Break, and then with any follow-up against Death Break, they should die, right? So yeah, this is the Amit Cleave with the Blood Moon Heist first pick. But now let's switch off to other types of draft, okay? Let's go for none other than Laia first pick drafts, our favorites, right, guys? So to play first pick Laia, I advise to stick with ML Poly Luna prebans, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to use my own prebans if I am first pick. So if I'm first pick, guys, I try to ban the Bellion plus the Para, because the Laia first picks are the drafts I do the most. So I pre-ban if I have first pick only first pick, guys. If second pick, I also pre-ban the ML Poly plus the Luna like everybody else, because these units are really rough to deal with. But if I have first pick, I like pre-banning Balian plus Pera, because I'm trying to abuse Luna first pick, right, if they don't pre-ban her. But most of the ladder pre-bans her, so let's go with Laia first pick. And the majority of the ladder will respond to this with Death Dealer Ray plus Ambitious Timing. And this is where you go with Nahkwol plus BDom. Okay, there's a problem with this draft though, guys. This draft is truly effective and good if you have a fast BDom, like around 300 speed on Bird's Eye, which is the Brigitta's artifact, to give you 20 souls, so you can suddenly abuse souls on them. They think you're playing slow, right? They think you're playing standard, right? They don't think you're gonna cleave, they're gonna get cleave. So let's say your opponents go for something like Abyssal Euphine or Candy. Let's say Abyssal Euphine plus a cleanser, because right now this is usually what I've been doing, guys, against this draft. I think you kind of have to put one of the Elbreeze Knights here on 3, either let it be Abyssal Euphine or ML Andy, because you have a timing, right? So if Nahkwol presses S3, a timing is going to cleanse the bind, and they're going to be able to counter anyways. And that's why you also need a cleanser, so you can kind of keep up with what they're doing to you. It's kind of hard to keep up with Nahkwol and Laia though, but this draft is really hard to answer. And this is when as the left side draft, this is where we go suddenly 2 book units, something like Roy plus Eternal Wanderer with like whatever it is that can abuse double soul burn, right? Arya, depending on the draft, it could be Arya as well, right? Because no matter what they ban, you're gonna be able to soul burn your Roy twice, or you're gonna be able to soul burn your Ludwig twice, right? Let's say their last pick, they're gonna go something like, let's say Karina, right? And then on the ban, let's do the bans. We're gonna ban Karina for sure, because that means if they pick Karina, they probably wanna let Roy up, and then that means they're gonna ban the Ludwig. So basically what happens here is that Nahkwol goes first, or the BDom goes first, depending. Probably BDom goes first because she needs to be like 300 speed. She provides the 20 souls, so you're gonna be starting the match with 40 souls, right? She's gonna S3, give Roy attack buff, then you have 40 souls, the Nahkwol S3s, and then Nahkwol S2s the Euphine, and then Laia boosts, and then Roy gets the third, where he soul burns once into Euphine, probably soul burns into Destina, S3s, boom, they're both dead, right? Because this is going to be a really nuker Roy. So this is one of the Laia first pick drafts. I think this is one of the best drafts you can be doing right now to climb. The only issue with this draft is that, again, it requires Brigitta's artifact on BDom decently high level. I think it requires at least plus 24 on it. And it requires a fast BDom as well, around 290 plus speed, because your BDoms will have to outspeed opponents' Nahkwols in case if you first pick Laia and they steal Nahkwol from you, right? You want to be picking BDom still, and then you have to outspeed the Nahkwol so you don't get resetted, etc, etc. So that's the problem with this draft. It requires Bird's Eye and requires a fast BDom. Let's go though for another Laia first pick draft, right? Let's go with, assume I have first pick, let's go with the Balian pre-ban into Pyrrha ban as well. Again, guys, you might ask me, why are you banning Pyrrha and Balian? I'm banning Balian again because I want to abuse first pick Luna if I can. And I'm banning Pyrrha because I want to abuse first pick ML Poly as well if I can. But because most of the ladder are banning this, we are kind of countering each other on the bans, but it's fine. Another draft you want to be doing is, I think this is the most basic first pick Laia draft of the ladder. I think this is the draft the majority of the players spam. It's a high win rate draft. It's very effective, so why not? So let's say we go for our classic Laia first pick, and our opponents answer with the classic Death Dealer Ray plus Ambitious Timing, right? And then we go with Nahkwol on 2 plus Carmine on 3 under band protection. We basically pick the best debuffer and the best. Basically, our draft consists of the best cleanser plus DPS, the best debuffer in the game, and the best tank in the game, right? So basically, we already kind of have almost everything we need in our draft. Now we just need to counter their draft on our last 2 picks, right? Because our draft already has everything. It already has max mitigation, it already has the best debuffer, and it already has the best cleanser, which happens to be a carry at the same time, right? So let's say your opponent goes with the BDom on under ban protection, which I think is a very common answer, and then they go with a carry, right? Let's say they go Shu. Let's say they're playing ER, right? And they go Urban Shadow Shu. Usually this draft, you want to complement this draft, you want to finish this draft usually with 2 debuffers. That's usually the best way to complement this draft. So we're gonna go with Fire Cermia. Fire Cermia is amazing here. You want to build her on Abyssal Crown, super high effectiveness and decently fast. So the stat threshold for Fire Cermia is at least 265 speed, at least 3k attack, 1k defense, 10k HP, 250 effectiveness, okay, on Abyssal Crown. That's her build, and she's very effective versus this because you just open up with S2, Abyssal Crown, stun them, proc the timing, whatever, right? Proc with the unhealable, and then finger snap, S3, boom, stun everyone. And then we have Laia and Nahkwol, so we just insanely debuff them to death. And because they went with the Urban Shadow Shu as the carry on 4, this is where we can go something like an LQC. I've been a fan. I built my LQC on around 200 speed on Benimaru's Taichi. Pen set, high damage, because I just want to nuke something and extinct something, right? Especially these ER Shu gamers, where you just go LQC, boink, and they're dead. Let's say your opponent answers our draft, finishes our draft with something anti-debuffer unit, most likely. So let's gonna say he's gonna pick Ed, and then we are gonna go for the ban. We're going to respect the Ed as our first pick. As first pick, guys, you almost always want to ban their last pick unless it's really bad. So just respect the last pick most of the time if you have first pick. Unless, and again, it's bad and it doesn't do anything against your game plan. And because he picks Ed, that means he wants to fight the debuffers and not the damage. So he's going to ban the LQC. And there we go. A very successful Laia first pick draft. Finally, for the last, let's go for what I call like ML Luna drafts or ML Poly drafts, right? And let's say our opponent goes for something like Cermia plus, let's say, ML Andy. I think this is something that could happen. This is where we go for ambitious Tywin on 2 plus Genua. Guys, keep in mind though, this is where ER Genua is really strong. Is on these Sea Phantom Politis drafts, because this way I don't care about Celine on Stunny. I usually don't care about Fire Poly, and so this is where ER Genua is actually pretty decent. But yeah, so we go with the Sea Phantom Politis into Ambitious Tywin into Genua on 3. I personally play a really fast Tywin on Bastion of Perlucia, but also Protset Aureus is also good. But with Sea Phantom Politis, you want a fast Tywin so we can enrage him into death breaking your opponents. Let's say our opponents pick a Celine on 2 because we want to press, right, no matter what. So he's going to go Celine, and then let's say they go a cleanser, something like a Laia, right? They need to go a cleanser, and then that's where we can finish off with another DPS. Because against Celine, guys, when you're playing Poly against Celine, you want to be pressing. So if you want to be pressing, you have to be drafting units like Genua, Fire Ravi, Blood Moon Ace, Dragon Bright Cermia, Bastion of Night on Tywin, Bastion of Pollution on Tywin, etc. So if your opponents will do this, that's when we go off with our Ace plus Fire Ravi. Our opponent will probably last pick Nahkwol, and this is where we ban Nahkwol. Honestly, what would our opponent ban? Our opponent would most likely ban either Blood Moon Ace or Fire Ravi, right? Let's say they ban the Fire Ravi, and there we go. In this case, you almost always, you're going to press with Sea Phantom Politis. That's why you drafted Genua. That's why we drafted Blood Moon Ace. That's why we drafted Fire Ravi. We want to be pressing. The strength of Politis is when she presses, right? So we're going to press. We're going to press S3 with a Tywin, and we're going to go from there, right? I also play Sea Phantom Politis on Unseen Observer, so she can soul burn units like Ambitious Tywin, Genua, Arbiter Wildred, right? Another way to draft this Sea Phantom Politis that's very effective. Let's say your opponent steals the Genua, right? This is where you can go like units like, honestly, units like Ambitious Tywin and Arbiter Wildred, because Arbiter Wildred is unironically pretty good versus Genua, plus we always have the Ambitious Tywin Death Break threat, right? So as you guys can see, there's multiple ways to play Sea Phantom Politis. I think there's most unit diversity is when you have her, but at the same time that only happens because she's super broken, right? Super good. A way to fight Sea Phantom Politis is to steal the Ambitious Tywin and the Genua. I like this opener a lot. The problem with this opener is that if you do this, your opponents will probably do something like this, which is pretty effective versus Ambitious Tywin plus Genua, right? So you gotta be careful with that. But the thing is, after stealing the Ambitious Tywin plus the Genua, this is where I actually like ML Roman a lot, okay? Because of the defense break and the silence, etc. that he can provide. Another problem though is that Roman only strips 2 Candy as the anti-crit buff, and then this could be on Bastion of Prolucia with the shield, so they can just stack shields on you with something like Carmine, right? Stack buff on you with something like a Carmine, and then your Roman is a lot weaker, right? That's one of the biggest problems with Roman. Or they can go like Angel of Light, like they can do like this, right? And then you're kind of in trouble. Like, this unit's just kind of overpowered, especially with band protection. I think band protection is really bad. It enables these solo carry into 4 support type of drafts, making these solo carries really effective, especially the Navy Captain Landys, right? The Abyssal Fiends, the Genuas, etc. But yeah, these are a bunch of different Sea Phantom Politis drafts that you could be doing to achieve your rank. Okay guys, and now I'll give you guys a surprise last draft, and this is gonna be Luna first pick, obviously, right? So let's see if it's me playing. I'm gonna pre-ban the Pyra and the Pelion, and let's say our opponents pre-banning. Let's say our opponents don't like Sea Phantom Politis and the Genua. I think this is a type of pre-ban that could be happening. This is where we go first pick ML Luna. This is my most basic ML Luna first pick draft. Let's say they go Laia plus a Tywin. You go none other than Zio plus Ludwig on 3. You put Ludwig under band protection because Ludwig is one of the highest damage potential units in the game. So you put one of the best soul abusing units in the game, and we're banning Balian for a reason, right? So we're going to put Balian there. Let's say our opponents will go with Infinite Horizon Achilles plus Abyssal Infinite, and we can finish our draft with Nahkwol plus Requiem Roana. Requiem Roana is the thing with Requiem Roana is that she's amazing versus Achilles. And she's another book holder, and you can, even if they ban your Nahkwol, you can put your Eternal Wanderer Ludwig in the front, right? Alright guys, that's gonna be it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is my first draft guide video. Any feedbacks would be really appreciated on the comments down below or in the Discord. Also, if you have any questions, you can hop onto the live stream or join the Discord. Both of the links are down below in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe. It really helps out the channel to grow. And thank you so much for your time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.